Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. It's Fatmata here from Traditionally Inspired Meaningful Art, and I'm so happy to have you here. Today we're gonna do a roundup of all of my makes for 2024. Now I'm losing a bit of light, so hopefully we can get through this so you can see everything I made up last year. And I am really proud of the things that I got accomplished, even though there were fewer than I've done in the year prior. We kicked off the year strong. I was sewing a couple of garments for my best friend who was getting married in May. And we started off with the Vicky Sews Estella dress. Now I will put up images of what the Estella dress looks like up on the screen. The Estella dress is a gorgeous square neck design dress with a princess bodice. It also has gorgeous box pleats in the front. And we purchased this pattern twice trying to get the fit right. We made it out of this beautiful cream colored silk twill fabric that we found at Fabric Place Basement. It is lined as well, and we use this gorgeous rayon fabric in a matching color. I am so proud of the execution of this make. It turned out beautifully. My best friend went back to Fabric Place Basement weeks, if not months later, and found another remnant of the same silk fabric and made this giant bow to go over the shoulder. I don't have a ton of gorgeous photos of her in it, but the photos that I do have, I will post here. And I'm really proud to have started off the year with such a strong make. We did about, I think, 3 toiles of the Estella dress, trying to get the fit right because Vicky Sews patterns, you only get one size per purchase. So we had selected the size that we thought was her fit and then had to size down by 2 sizes, and even that wasn't right. So then we needed one just right there in the middle. So I sort of hacked some things together at that point because I didn't want to buy it a third time. Moving right along, the next make that we wanted to make for wedding attire is the one that I am wearing, and this is Nomi ME2065. It's a pattern by Erica Bunker. It is this gorgeous backless blazer. I had this satin fabric that I wanted to use to make the blazer and to make a co-ward set. We'll talk about that soon. And here is the blazer. It really is best showcased on a body because of the backless design detail. It's really hard to see in all of its full glory without seeing a person in it. This was also a complete saga to try and get this right because we initially made it and the sizing was completely wrong, and we had to sort of size it down. And I'm really proud of all of the hard work that went into making this blazer. I finished this down to the wire. I think I delivered the week that I finished making this blazer. So luckily she was able to take it with her before I went to the hospital, and that was a treat. My best friend wore this to a dinner that they had for her bachelorette party. So she was able to wear it to one of the occasions for the wedding. And that was the goal. So I'm really excited that that happened. This blazer certainly taught me a lot. It's my first ever blazer. It was also the bane of my existence and the object of all of my desires. And I'm really happy that I stuck to it and had a finished piece that she hopefully will be delighted with for years to come. I'm happy that I used up this gorgeous fabric that I'd had in my stash, but wow, did it throw me for a loop. But I was committed to making it. I had set out to do it. It was one of my Make 9 projects, so I'm very happy. To go along with that, I wanted to make the shorts from Style 2274, and that is the shorts pattern here. It's cut out on the bias. It's very gorgeous. We had made a toile for it, and then I was almost there with completing the finished make. It was going to be paired with this blazer. We got so far, but alas, her last fitting, when she came to actually try this on, the very next day I went into labor. So that was that. We're kind of cutting it close here with these final makes because this blazer just took so long to get through with all of the sizing and fit issues. I mean, this exists. Like, if ever she is so inclined, she could have this and fix it, but I don't know if she is so inclined. Moving on, I was so fed up with this blazer and things not going well, with issues with the instructions, printing it, sizing, etc. I took a little break and I made something for myself. And this is Simplicity S9556, this maternity set. And it is so nice. It is nursing friendly. It's very hard to showcase here, but if you can see in the front, you have this sort of panel that drapes over, and on the inside there's a slit for baby to access and a nurse, and it's so seamless. And I really enjoyed taking this to the hospital with me. It's made out of this double brush poly that says good vibes. It's really, really fun. And I had it in my stash from G Street Fabrics a while ago. I changed up the joggers in this pattern a bit. I love the deep roomy pockets, but they wanted 3 rows of elastic, I believe, at the waistline. I did not want that postpartum, so I just did a yoga white waistband, and that was really nice. I love these. It is double brush poly, so it got really hot. I delivered at the end of March, so rolling into spring, summer. Hadn't really thought that all the way through. So it was kind of hot, but it was nice to wear at home with the AC and stuff. I roughly used the pants pattern from that same pattern to make these shorts with leftover fabrics from a top that I hacked as well. I added side seam pockets, and it's shorts mainly because that's all the fabric I had left after I made this gorgeous top. And I hacked this from a vintage pattern that is McCall's 3187, and I hacked the long sleeve top by cutting it in the bodice and adding this panel here that crisscross, so again baby could nurse, but otherwise it just looked like a regular top. This is a gorgeous eggplant colored sort of fleecy fabric, and I love it. I picked this up in the dead stock section at G Street Fabrics as well some time ago. Then I finally got to make my bridesmaid's dress. The color for the bridesmaids to wear were shades of orange, so I picked up this gorgeous polyester satin fabric in Paris when I went in December of 2023, and it's just so beautiful. I got to use trim that I picked up in Guinea some years ago, and I also added a modesty panel. I used Simplicity S8875. I had a different pattern in mind, but then went to my Old Faithful. I hacked it to include a waistline seam that's not included in the pattern, adding that same trim there, and put on a full circle skirt. It just was the perfect amount of twirl factor. I added pockets so I could carry the lip gloss, carry the phones, do all the things, and be a helpful bridesmaid. And I had some viscose in my stash in an orange color that I used as a lining, so it's fully lined. Close to Mother's Day, I ended up using this very Vogue pattern 9014 to make an Ankara skirt for my sister-in-law to match with the items that I had made for my brother and my niece last year. So that was really nice to get that made up for her. I also made 3 aprons throughout last year. I made one for my son's teacher for Teachers Appreciation Week, and then 2 others for another teacher who had seen them and really enjoyed them. They were self-drafted based on measurements I got from Pinterest, and then I added some patch pockets. They were all reversible, so I'll insert some photos of what those look like as well. There was a lot of selfless sewing last year. Then my cousin wanted sort of like an abaya and underdress combination, so I tried to make that. I used Simplicity 1108 as a rough basis for the abaya, and then I tried to self-draft basically like an underdress. There was a complete saga. I had her help me cut it out, and some of the cutting was a little bit off. I didn't do a good job putting on the band for the front, so then it kept flipping out. It was wavy. I really had a hard time with that make. I think the color was really beautiful. I loved the fabric. It was also fine in the dead stock section at G Street, and I wish we would have come up with something a bit more wearable. I have not seen her wear it yet, so I'm like, you know, that it was sad. It just was unfortunate. And then moving on, I used McCall's 8285, and I hacked this to make my Zimmermann inspired dress. If you've been on this channel for a while, I talked about this back in 2022 and finally got it finished last year, which I'm so proud of. Let me bring it down. This was a make of makes. It is beautiful. This is all linen fabrics that I had thrifted or found over the years, and I'm very, very happy that the colors worked out so well. I bought a ton of rickrack to do this trim. So I used the McCall's pattern to get the yoke and the shape of, and to get the arm to get started here, as well as the collar stand and the button front placket. So that was lovely. And then from there, it was just rows and rows of gathered linen fabric. I absolutely love, 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 love this dress. I ended up wearing this dress to Baltimore Frocktails later on in the year as well. And yeah, it's such a hit and will be a great reminder of what I can actually do with sewing. I think the finishes were lovely on the inside, and I'm very proud of this make. Look at these gorgeous buttons. I thrifted these buttons, they're sphere, and I love this dress. It is a smidge too long to wear without heels, so I wore it, I think, for Eid as well, and it is just dragging all over the floor, but I think taking off the final tier would make it a little bit too short for my liking. So I don't know how exactly I plan to fix that issue. Maybe I could like fold the bottom tier and take a bit out. I don't know, but that is that. I tried to redeem myself by making my cousin something else. She saw a dress and we tried to recreate it using S9225 roughly. I just wanted sort of this raglan bodice front, and then we sort of hacked it to oblivion, adding like a center gathered panel and then a fuller skirt. It had some like piping, like detail, flat piping detail that I also made. So I was really, really proud of that. We made that in this gorgeous viscose fabric that I had. It's like a dusty green with this beautiful lilac there from my stash that I had also picked up Edgy Street at one point. So that was really nice to make that for her. Additionally, she wanted a nice maxi skirt, so I had a beautiful orange fabric that I also picked up in Paris that I was able to make her S9238. It was a hacked version. Basically, I like folded the fabric in half, so it's just this side right here, so there's no split, and added the back. Since it has a zipper, I didn't need the split, and it has beautiful darts for shaping. I loved it. She looked fabulous in it. Not much to say about that. And then I went on a bit of a hiatus from sewing. I was just enjoying the newborn phase and just like enjoying the summer with my family. Things got really busy. My kids were in camps, etc. But my sister was going to a wedding and she wanted me to make a top for her out of some fabric that the bride had given everyone. So I used S8328 roughly, this sort of like halter version here, and made a beautiful top for her that she was going to wear with fabric or a skirt that someone at the location of the wedding was going to provide for her. Unfortunately, they did not have that fabric when she arrived, so she couldn't wear the top. And then there was a blue dress that she had, and we added this huge gigantic bow over top of it. Look at the photos to see a bit more. And the zipper of the like base blue dress, which I didn't make, the zipper broke, maybe from the weight of how big the bow was, because I had put like some attachments in the back to secure it. It broke, so she couldn't wear that either. So she didn't wear either of the things that I made her for the wedding, but hopefully she had a good time. But it did get me out of my sewing slump that summer. Then from there, I made this lovely number. So this is my feather top. Because I already had the Simplicity pattern out, I just went ahead and used that same view and hacked it a bit to make this lovely top. Hopefully you can see the feather top. I've been talking about these feathers for a couple of years now. I think I bought them back in 2023, and they're just these gorgeous midnight navy feathers. I had this navy blue fabric in my stash, just a polyester fabric, and I did alter the pattern. It does have a full back, as you can see here. However, I just wanted it to come down lower because I was going to wear it on top of something else. Didn't want to overcomplicate it. They're hook and eye closures, and I put hook and bar closures here in the back. It does overlap quite a bit because I wanted it to cinch in, so either I didn't do the right size or I extended it. I can't remember, but that worked out well. And then I made the plumes, like I took the ostrich feathers off of like the satin that it's on and wrapped them up to be individual plumes, which I then glued onto the base, you know, the base top that I had created. And I wore it over a dress that my best friend had made for me, M8064. My best friend had made me M8064, and I love that dress. It's out of a gorgeous blue and green tie-dye sort of mesh fabric. So I wore this dress, this top over that dress for Artscape when we went to Baltimore Frocktail. So these two were worn in the same weekend and I loved it. From there, another hiatus because I returned to work in August. It was my birthday. I hurt my hip. I was out for the count. I was dealing with quite a bit of medical things and returning to work, trying to do my absolute best there for my students and their families. So not much sewing happened. Then in December, I made a poncho for my mom using this gorgeous wool fabric that we had gotten from G Street Fabrics in 2023. And she was like, where are the fabrics that we got? Can you make me something? She was going on a trip this past December, so I was able to make her that poncho, self-drafted, cut up, you know, down the center front, made a whole area for her neck, a slight angle to come down, bias bound the edges, did manual, like very large buttonhole essentially to pass a like a belt through, and I made a self belt and it's gorgeous, and she wore it on her trip, so I'm very happy about that. Then I had 2 weeks off I had a week off in December. At the end of December, we had winter break. So I was home for a bit and I got to mending. So my daughter has some of these joggers and leggings that I made for her in 2022, I believe. And they were just getting quite short. So I unpicked some of the ends and added more because I had just a smidge of each of the fabrics left. Not enough to make like a full new set of pants. But not enough to like make a full shirt either. So I'm gonna have to hack the rest of them and like combine them. But I was able to get some of the stretchy bits to just extend them. Yes, you can kind of tell it doesn't matter. She wears these at home and she loves them, so they fit everywhere else. I just wanted to extend the life of them. Hopefully they have another 2 years left in them. And this wasn't just the only pair. I think I did about 5 of them for her. Then with all of the remnants of all of them, these are all of the different prints that she has those joggers and leggings out of. And I didn't know what to do with them, so I hacked them into a patchwork sweater. She took one look at it and was just like, has not worn it, but maybe it'll grow on her. I think it was more of a project for me than for her. I was like, look at me being resourceful, using all these scraps. Like, look at how much I patched this sleeve alone. It's amazing. I'm so proud of it. I hope that one day she comes around and she does wear them. I figured that no matter which of the bottoms she was wearing, it would always match, right? It's worth a shot. Then I had some house dresses that I wanted to make nursing friendly. All summer I wanted to do this when I was like heavily nursing or exclusively nursing, and just got around to it in December. But hey ho, I have about 4 of these that I did. I won't show you all 4, but basically I put some interfacing on the back, cut a hole, added zippers. It's wonderful. So those are back in rotation. And then I was able to fix up this skirt, which I made, I think also in 2022, if I'm not mistaken. And this is New Look N6676. I had made it, I hacked it to have 2 tiers at the bottom, but that's the only difference. I unpicked the entire second row of the entire row of gathers here because I had originally gathered it on my serger and the gathering was not even. So I put the 2 basting stitches on the sewing machine, regathered it, put it, and then attached the lining. The yoke is lined to give a really neat finish. So I have 2 different gingham prints. I love it. So now this skirt is gonna go back into the summer wardrobe and wait for warmer weather, but at least it's done. Then I was able to make this finally. I'd cut out this pattern I think in 2023 and it has sat in a pile since then. M7476, I did view E, this long line duster, and I absolutely adore it. Hopefully I have taken photos at some point to show you this, but I wore it out to IKEA, so it did have a test run out in the wild, and I love it. It's so snuggly, it's warm, it's long length. I did a blind hem stitch on the bottom, which isn't so blind, like when it falls, you can kind of see the puckers, but the intention was there. I did it on the sewing machine, and sometimes it goes too deep into the fabric and it actually leaves a little pucker. What also stopped me was that I didn't have enough of this fabric to do the facing that's required. Luckily, I had some woven fabric in my stash that is the same color of this knit. Since the facing needed to be interfaced anyways, I figured using a woven was not a terrible idea, and I'm glad that I did that. Now it's complete. For these trousers, I also made back in 2022, I think it was for Thanksgiving, and this is S1069, and everything was done. I had put some elastic in this section right here, like from the back darts to the center zipper, but all I wanted to do was top stitch it, and then I turned under the hem one more time because I had lengthened this, but then I could only wear it with heels, so I turned it over one more time. So it has a very thick sort of hem, but it's beautiful what it does in terms of like the weight to make it sit really nicely. So I don't regret that, but now it's actually more versatile and I can wear it with more types of shoes. So I like that, and it gives just a little bit of give when I wear it. These two work really well together. I was in the mending mode, so took this pair of thrifted jeans as well, adding elastic here, 1.5 inch in the back waistband along the entire length of the back, just so that it did not gape. So that was very quick and easy. Following that, another Coatigan style that I had completed, I think in 2021, possibly. It's a long time ago. S8742, out of this burgundy material that's fleece backed as well. I had a cotton sateen fabric that matched the exact color, which was great for the under collar and the facing, and that helped to reduce some of the bulk. One of the things that I love about this one is that the pockets are faced, so that's that same cotton sateen fabric, and I think it's a really wonderful sort of design detail that they have, and I've actually borrowed that pocket construction for other cardigans that I'm making. I think it adds stability and structure to it, and then it allows you to just top stitch around the edge instead of trying to fold in the corners by like 5/8 of an inch or doing a mitered corner or anything like that. So I really like that. The length of it is great as well, but it's very substantial. I had tried to do the cuffs as they instruct you to for this view, for view A, but the thickness of this material just wouldn't allow it. It wasn't neat. So finally I just cut off the excess fabric and turned it under and did a blind stitch by hand, as well as on the bottom here. That's also a blind hem stitch as well. I almost thought that I bias bound the seams, but that's just the color of the serger thread I was using. I was like, that is a very neat finish. Not quite. All right, I think the final thing that I have here to show you would be revisiting S1108, and I made a shorter version of this duster, great, out of this velvet burnout fabric that I got at Joann Fabrics. I also had this like eyelash lace, velvet sort of lace fabric, so I had put that on the sleeves. Had bias bound the neckline, but I did not like that, so I went back in, took out that bias binding, and added that same velvet lace trim all along the edge. I curved out the bottom just so I didn't have to deal with trying to put this trim along a sharp corner. And now it's actually wearable. I might have to put ties in the front to tie it, or a clasp or hook and eye or something so that I can close it a little bit, but otherwise, that's it. I think that's primarily everything that I did. I did some other work like this brown number here during the winter break, but I do think that was after the new year, just after. So part of me wants to include it, but I know that that was 2025. So we're gonna end there. Those are my makes. I think it was 20 or 23, if you count the sets as individual pieces, about 20 to 24, 23 new makes. I think I finished, upcycled, mended maybe about 12 to 15 items, majority of that being in this December winter break. And then I did many, many, many toiles. I was not afraid of doing toiles. I think because a lot of it was wedding sewing at the beginning of the year, it felt like it was necessary. So that was very interesting to kind of go into that. Finishing the Zimmermann inspired dress also taught me that I don't mind a long make if it's exciting and fun. So I am looking forward to doing a longer, more involved make in 2025 as well, building those skill sets, those different types of things. And I got rid of a lot of me-mades as well, and that made me think about what I was making, why I was making them, the quality, and if I was thinking twice about giving them away because they didn't look good, and it's not to do with the fabric, like my making, then I was like, oh, that's something for you to think about for future stuff. I hope this was interesting to look through. It's much less than, of course, I made in the previous year, but for good reason. I'm very happy and okay with that. I'm curious about how this year is going to go. If you have a favorite, please let me know down below. I think the Zimmermann inspired dress is definitely my favorite. I think I'm proudest of the Erica Bunker backless blazer that I'm wearing, and I'm very, very happy that I took the time at the very end of December when I finally got my Sojo back to spend some time mending and fixing and putting some things back in my wardrobe that would otherwise not be able to be worn, and to revisit things that I cut out from 2 years ago. How exciting. I hope you had a great sewing year last year and are looking forward to this one. I'll talk to you in the comments down below. Have a wonderful day. Bye.